What if you were to listen to an internationally acclaimed, multi-award-winning illusionist, and he had something far more to say than, "Watch this trick"? Rick Thomas is that performer, ready to go far beyond his magic and far beyond your imagination as he shares secrets regarding our dreams. Dreams that can become reality. The future belongs to those who believe in the strength of their dreams. Dreams pass into the reality of action. From the action stems the dream again. And this interdependence produces the highest form of living. Join Rick and his co-host, award-winning broadcaster Tammy Trujillo, for Nothing Happens Until You Dream. Indulge your mind and take a journey never to be forgotten. A journey connecting all of our dreams as we chase them together.
All right, Rick, this is now our weekly check-in on the new member of your family. How is Blizzard doing?
Blizzard he's now like 10 weeks old,
Right.
and he's 30 pounds. And
He's gained that much?
When he appears in the show, we shrink the dog, right? I tell people how I travel the world, and I travel with our Great Pyrenees dogs, and they're 150 pounds.
Right.
And I have to figure out a way to travel the world. So in front of the audience, I shrink the dog. And that's our wonderful little Blizzard. But I grab the dog and put him in my arms, and I tell the audience, I'm going to take a break. That means you have to take one as well, whether you like it or not. And I'm talking to the audience, and they're laughing because the dog is licking me, and but he's also getting extremely heavy. And I'm holding him, and he's squirming around. And
oh my gosh.
he's already, it's just been a month he's been in the show, and I can't even hold him anymore.
Oh my goodness. Because when we first talked about him, he was 20 pounds. And that was just like less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's a heavy boy.
Oh my
he's
goodness.
he's a heavy boy. And they say that he's going to be bigger than Storm.
Oh
So,
my gosh. Oh my goodness.
but they're the Pyrenees, Great Pyrenees males are between 130, 140, and Storm is 150 easily.
Okay.
I don't know. These are just big boys.
No kidding. And all the time he's squirming, I can only guess the fur is flying.
You know what? I will tell you this honestly. When they're babes like that, they don't lose their fur like the adults do.
Thank
So
goodness.
he's just a big fluff ball. He is a Blizzard.
Yes, I think you named him appropriately.
He's a little Blizzard. It's nice to give his name. And when the public come up, we do photos during the intermission in the show. And Blizzard and Storm are in the photos as well.
Oh, wow.
And they always ask because supposedly in the world of magic, I've just shrunk the dog. And when they come back on stage from my backstage experience, there's two of them. Okay, I'm not telling you too much of a secret, but when I transform one dog into the other, it's magic. Believe it as far as that goes. And at the same time, they go, wait, there's two of them. I know, yes. And like, what's the little one's name? Blizzard. And you say that, everybody's like, oh, that's so adorable.
Well, it is. Well, who can't fall in love with a puppy? I think it's humanly impossible.
And he's also going to be a superstar in the next newsletter coming up next week. So for those that aren't on the newsletter, honestly, I know you're listening to the podcast, but you need to be on my newsletter as well. Easiest way to do it is go to rickthomas.com. Once again, rickthomas.com. In the bottom right corner, it'll ask you to sign up on a little tag there for the newsletter. You just put in some information, your email address, and you'll start getting my monthly newsletter. I spend at least 3 days of my life every month putting the newsletter together.
Well, it's gorgeous because your skills with graphics and all of that have always amazed me. I'm jealous because when I do something, it looks like a 5-year-old did it.
Well, I'm going to tell you in honesty, people, I appreciate it. It is commented on often. And yes, my graphics and video production is extensive, but the secret behind it is the amount of time I put into it. So when I do the newsletter and I say 3 days, I mean it. You can ask Tar, you can ask anybody around me. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm barricading myself in my office, and I'm literally hours and hours and hours. This doesn't look right. That's not lined up right. That's not stunning enough. And I look at it at the end and go, wow, for the amount of people actually looking at this, maybe it's not worth it, but it's
worth it.
It is, whether you have one person or 10,000 people viewing it. In my opinion, it's my life, it's who I am, and I'm very lucky to send out information that some people find of interest.
It's very interesting. Let me just say that. It's a great way to keep up with what you're doing and what Tara's up to. And now Blizzard. This is going to be his big photo debut on the newsletter. So again, rickthomas.com, little sign up. It's going to take you 30 seconds. And then every single month, boom, there it is.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
Bottom right corner of the front main page on rickthomas.com. I, at the moment, I think it says connect.
Okay.
Or stay in contact or something like that.
You'll find it.
You'll find it. Bottom right corner. Click on the button and we'll take good care of you.
All right. We're working on chapter 36 today. And this is an interesting one because this is a concept that, well, to me, it's always been fascinating. The title is Your Parents Will Become Your Friends. And now, okay, I don't have kids. All right. So I don't have it come in that direction.
All right.
But at some point, that relationship does change.
Okay. First of all, this is my personal opinion.
Okay.
This is not clinical. This is not scientific. This is just my own personal life. And I can say that because of my relationship with my parents. And I'm saying it also because I know that life gets in the way. Life is extremely challenging, and relationships, they're a tough go. And sometimes between parents and children, it never clicks. So there are those out there, when I say this, they're just going to roll their eyes or, but I think that in general, it doesn't even need to be your parents. This will be as you age and you have people who are older than you, you'll find that they too have a relationship that changes as you age together.
It's true. As you start the chapter, when your mom's 30 and you're 3, you are on different planets.
Yes.
Different species even. That's a weird situation, and you look to your parents for every single thing because at 3, you're incapable of most things except causing trouble.
Talking about that age difference now, I'm just going to throw this in. I find this fascinating about the human race and all other animals. Humans are supposedly supposed to be the species that's the most knowledgeable and educated, and they're the top of the food chain, so to speak.
Right.
But at birth, compared to all other animals in the animal kingdom, we need more care for our lives than most any other animal. Most animals, they are born, and with let's just take a horse, for example. And within moments, that colt gets up on its own 2 feet and starts walking around, right?
Within moments.
Okay. And you think about all other animals and all species and how they are born and how they are raised and that whole process. Yet humans, they being the most advanced, need tender, loving care until they're 25 years old.
Most of them do.
Or 30.
Yeah. Or even later than that with some people that I know.
Okay,
truly.
you get the point.
No,
18 years of age when you turn to be an adult, parents go, that was a long run.
Yeah.
And
I've thought about that with animals. Where I teach, because this brings up something that we're dealing with right now. There's this huge pond. It's a neat pond. It is overrun with red slider turtles. Those are the little green turtle, cute little, dollar-sized turtles. Well, they get to be about the size of a dinner plate. And this pond is overrun because people get them. They get too big. They bring them there. They shouldn't do this. Okay, it's mating season now. Yeah. And the females are marching out of the pond to lay eggs. Rick, they're traveling across campus. We see them all the time. We're trying to protect them because they're crossing roads and such to plant their eggs. But when those eggs hatch in about 2.5 months, okay, now you've got this little quarter-sized turtle coming out, and he has to find the pond. He at birth, this little dude, to survive, he's been out of the egg for 10 seconds. He's got to go, pond, where the heck is the pond? And he's got to travel on his little tiny legs that just started to work all the way to the pond, or he's dead. He's doomed.
Yes.
It boggles my
they
mind.
find it.
They do.
Find
They
it.
do. They do. It just boggles my mind, though, that the first thing this little guy has to do is survive.
Is monumental.
By himself. Well, with his other
Right.
little turtles that don't know anything better than he does.
Most humans don't remember anything past the age of 6.
That's true, too. What happened? Where are those memories? I have scattered ones. Do you have any when you're really
Yes,
tiny?
just a few here, a few there, maybe a teacher, kindergarten teacher, things like that.
Mhm.
And they also say that that everything you learn, everything that's to survive, you learn before the age of 5, right?
That doesn't make sense if you forget most of it.
Well, I know, but look at the language that you learn.
That's true.
Look at the ability to walk.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm laughing because, like I said, other animals are born and they
Right.
begin to walk immediately.
Yeah.
They go to the mother. They know exactly where to get food.
Mm-hmm.
We don't.
No. We
Oh,
just
no,
sit there
we
and
do.
scream.
Government.
Doesn't that come a little later in life?
Yeah, it comes later in life. Yeah.
No, all a
government.
baby does is lay there and scream for somebody to attend it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've thought of that often because we deal with a lot of little baby animals, and I see what they're capable of and think, now, if I had a baby,
Mhm.
yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And yet we supposedly rule the world.
I know.
There you go. That's a lot of direct going in the wrong direction, kind of, but it's fascinating.
It
and
is.
It is about life, and it is mom being 30 and you being 3. There's a relationship where the parent gives everything they've got to take care of their child. And I know
Everything.
that there are circumstances where that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Humans can be pretty brutal.
Sure.
And I'm just letting you know that as far as I'm concerned, that's what parents are supposed to do, and that's care for their children.
Well, when you have a baby, it is a commitment of 18 years. There's really no getting around it, really. Somebody's got to care for that infant and toddler and then child and teen up until they're capable, hopefully, knock wood, of getting out on their own at 18 and surviving. Everything's a commitment. We commit when we get a cat or a dog. We're committing to that animal's life of caring for it. But I know it doesn't happen all the time. I get that.
But at least one of the intriguing things about this very short chapter is that the number of years between you and your parents never change.
Right.
So there's always going to be distance. When mom is 70 and you're 43, there's still a distance. However, there are certain things that you've now experienced in your own life that makes both you and your parents much more equal than you were before.
Right. Well, what was your relationship with your parents when you were growing up? Your family has 6 kids in it. I can't imagine a family with 6 kids running around, but you
That's
had
what we
that.
did.
Yes.
We ran as fast as we could away from our parents
Well,
who were chasing their children. Stop this. Stop that. I'm going to catch you.
Well, I don't know how your parents managed a crowd of 6, but they managed to do it. What was the relationship like when you were growing up? Because you worked as a kid. You were professional already.
I turned professional pretty young. Actually, I started, I think, semi-pro at age 13.
You and your sister.
Yeah. And my sister and I, of course, competed in dance. I think that the relationship with my parents, they were not only parents, but they were instructors.
Right.
In fact, that's why my parents teaching us ballroom dancing actually had my grandmother teach us more than they did, though they were international judges and teachers in competition dance. My grandmother was the one who taught us. My parents wanted to step away because of the relationship.
That makes sense.
And how strict and in your face they needed to be for us to become champions. And my grandmother, though still it's our grandmother, could do far better teaching us than our parents. I think the relationship had survived.
No, that makes good sense. Were your parents strict with you kids, though? In the parenting role, not the dance instructor role? What were they like?
My mother was strict. I can't tell you exactly how strict she was on the other children, but she does say to me constantly, I'm so sorry. I'm the oldest of 6. So she goes, I'm so sorry. I was stricter on you than all the other children. And I was just learning. And I was, I didn't know anything. And it's true. As parents, we may be 20, 30 years ahead of you, but life's challenging for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
And as a parent, you're doing your very best. And that child, for some reason, they can't grasp they can't grasp what you're doing for them
No.
at that age. And I think that
Mm-mm.
why I say that you get closer in age and closer in experience is by the time that you too also become a parent and have a job and
Mhm.
a life that has hit you square between the eyes,
No kidding.
you realize, wow, my parents were
Uh-huh.
words like right,
Uh-huh.
or my parents taught me well, or
Mhm.
I wish somebody would have told me how to open a bank account. Whatever it
Sure.
is, whatever it is, their
Mhm.
relationship with you is it's massive. And
Mhm.
the hardest part with relationships in families, it's difficult. No two humans communicate well with each other. There's always going to be some kind of conflict. And
Oh, yeah.
whatever happened between you and your parents when you're younger, my only suggestion is life goes by so fast. Get over it.
Boy, is that true? Because I know people who've been estranged from their parents
Mm,
as adults, and then the parent passes, and they're like, "Wait, wait, wait, we never resolved." No, well, too bad you missed your turn here. You can't wait.
yeah, you can't. And in my
Mm-mm.
case, my parents did more so become my friends. However, my mother is still my mother, and she still tells me what to do when she sees. It's fascinating that she can be out of my life for a few months,
Uh-huh.
so to speak, living on the other side of the states, and then we'll get into a conversation. And the next thing I know is she's telling me what to do, and I'm like, "How come? How come? Just because we're talking to each other, you tell me what to do?" So the relationship is hilarious. I think it's funny, and I'm always pointing it out to her mother. Stop telling me what
Well,
to do
she slides back into mom
in the momhood,
mode
right?
because
Yeah,
you're still her little boy, Rick.
I know, I
And you
know.
will be
I
forever.
know, I know. I never grew up, and you see that. I see
Mm-hmm.
that also with my children as well,
Mm-hmm.
who pay
Yeah,
no
how are
attention
you
to me
with
and have
them?
their own life. And
Yeah. Okay, but when you get on the phone with your son, I know
yes,
you two talk a lot and he's an
all the
adult.
time.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you slip into the dad Rick mode or are you just the, hey, bud, how's it going?
I think that that's where you need to be really careful. My suggestion is, as a parent, you should never be, "Hey, bud. Hey, we're buddies."
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. I think that there's a relationship where parents can always guide and direct, and their wisdom, because of their age, continues to grow,
Mm-hmm.
as does yours. And they have a lot to share and they have a lot to give. But when you stop being a parent and it's all about being just friends,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're missing the mark on that as well. So I think the chapter is difficult. I just tried to point out that as you grow older, you start to understand where your parents come from,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully that relationship, it grows because you have more to talk about. You have more to share with each other.
Mm-hmm.
As little children, I never understood when we were running around with family why all the adults were sitting at the table talking, and all the children were just playing around and paid no attention to the adults, and said, "Why are they sitting there just talking to each other?" And that's because they had all grown older
Uh-huh.
and they had a lot to share. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that they found life fascinating by having discussion rather than playing with tinker toys.
You really thought you were of the mindset that they should be running around with you playing with the toys
Well,
at one point?
Preston, our sweet little boy,
Mm-hmm.
he is always saying, "Dad, play with me.
Of
Dad,
course.
let's play a game. Dad,
Mm-hmm.
let's do this. Dad, let's do that." So, yes, they want you to be not only a parent, but I guess even at that age, a friend.
Well, they want you to come into their world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up watching my grandparents and watching, my mom, when I was with her. And I didn't understand what they were doing. What are they doing? They do some things that make sense. They eat, okay, and they do watch television. That makes sense to me. But what was all this other stuff? And why was my grandfather sitting at his desk with all these papers all day? He was doing
Hmm.
stock trading, but I found that out later. But why was that more fun than swinging on the swing? He's missing it. He doesn't understand.
Well, he actually probably is missing it,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not. I think that the one wonderful part of my career, even though like last night, we're going out on tour today
Mhm.
for a couple weeks. And we needed to take and tear apart the entire show and
Oh,
put it in the semi truck and get it ready to tour. It
oh,
was
yeah,
exhausting.
I
It was
bet.
overwhelming. I have a wonderful cast and crew who
Mhm.
are beside me, next to me, supporting me. But it was difficult. We worked into about 3:30, 4 o'clock last night, and
Yikes.
we're taking off right after this podcast.
Uh-huh.
For me personally, my whole life was following my dreams, and it's
Mhm.
all about my magic. But last night was work.
Yeah.
Last night was it was a bit of a challenge. But I still count, if this is the way you want to put it, I count my blessings that I followed my dreams and that I never grew up. That
Mhm.
my world, the world of magic, is the world of fantasy, the world of dreams, the world of childhood dreams that come true. And I've lived that my whole life. So I can say that that part of my life has been amazing. And I just wish and hope. You know what it is?
Hmm.
It is the Peter Pan syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
It is showing um it is showing adults what happens when you forget and when you stop being a child
Mhm.
and when your life turns from being a child to an adult and how messed up it could be.
No, it's true. It's true. You know, there are a lot of adults that I know who they truly have forgotten how to play.
Hmm.
They don't know anymore. And sometimes they look at me because I I play. I do. I'm pretty immature, and I'm the first to admit it, and I'll own up to it every day. I'm fine with it. But they look at me, and sometimes I wonder if they think I'm an idiot, or if they're jealous that I know how to play.
Hmm.
I wonder. And I think sometimes it's the latter because we'll be talking and say, well, you did that? Wow. And I think they're thinking, gee, why couldn't I do that? Huh. So I think it's important not to grow up all the way. It's boring up
Yes.
there.
And throwing this into the mix,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I personally scream and yell and tell others around me, do not wait to retirement to enjoy life. Do
Mm-hmm.
not wait to go on vacations. Do not wait. People wait and they go out there on what they think is going to be an amazing retirement, and they're now at an age where they can't enjoy so many things they could have
Boy,
before,
that's
where
true.
it holds them back just because of their
Mm-hmm.
age.
Mm-hmm.
And is it their fault? It's not their fault. Age is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But waiting is the wrong route.
Yeah.
Please take the opportunity to go out there and enjoy life. Take a weekend away. Go out and play. Be children again.
You're
And
talking to me,
that's
Rick.
I and you're working so hard and I'm
Oh,
working so hard. But again, my work is because it ties into who I am
mm-hmm.
and my dreams as a child. It has become work. People say, "What's it like being a magician?" Well, today, it is all about tickets to the show and
Mm-hmm.
advertising and creation and all this kind of stuff. But there's not one day where it's identical. It
Right.
changes every
Right.
day,
It's not
and
boring.
so that's why those that have a life where it's the same thing every day, you've got to break the monotony,
Mm-hmm.
find some time for yourself, and start living your life before you can't live it anymore.
Well, as they say, tomorrow is not promised.
Hmm.
And, it's one of those sayings that gets, battered around all the time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But if you really sit down and think about it, boy, there's not a truer statement.
Hmm.
It's not. There are things
Hmm.
that I've put off in my life till I was, quote, quote, ready.
Hmm.
And something happened and I never got to do that. And I
Because you're
kick
never
myself.
going to be ready.
Oh,
Is that the
exactly. Yeah.
never? You're never ready. There's
Mm-mm.
never enough money in the bank. You're
Mm-mm.
never ready enough. You never have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
All of us have the same excuses. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you right now, a lot of my joy now is not for me per se touring.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very lucky, and luck is preparation meeting opportunity, by the way.
Correct.
But I've been very lucky in my career to have traveled this world many, many times over, and I've seen things even before the age of 30.
Mm-hmm.
My retirement, I did out my entire retirement before I was 30. Okay. So
True.
now I'm aged. I'm a bit older. I'm still out there on tour.
Mhm.
I work shoulder to shoulder with my cast and crew, but I find great joy in taking them out on the road and taking them away from their lives, so to speak, where it becomes just a drudgery, and get them out on the road and experience life. We just finished touring and performing in Australia.
Oh, wow, I know.
And
Oh.
I can tell you, as I sat there in the theater telling my cast and crew, I looked at each of them. I said, you, pointing to the next person, you, and you. And by the way, you're going to Australia. And they're all looking at me, just like staring at me. And I got more joy out of
Mhm.
making their lives richer, because I'd performed and had wonderful opportunities for a long, long time being in Australia as well. Yes, absolutely love it. But I also told them at the end of the run, I can promise you this, you may not see it now, but later in your life, as you look back on your life, I can promise you what we just did is going to be one of the greatest memories of your entire life. I know it. I know these things. I have been out there with my cast and crew, whether it be the Bahamas or Japan, wherever we're taking anybody. I know what's going to happen. You know, they're living in their 20s and their early 30s, and life is fast and furious, and it goes by in a blur. And they're experiencing things. They're having a lot of fun. But as they get older and they look back and go, wow, that really was monumental. And I'm hoping and wishing that for other people. Take that opportunity to do things outside your box. Go out there and see the world, change it up just a little bit. And those moments in your life are going to be what you cherish.
Well, working in a show like yours, it's a lot of hard work. We don't want to downplay that, but there's some cool opportunities. So now you're going to have people sending in resumes saying, hello, Rick, I can dance. You need me? Where are you going?
Oh, I already
next?"
have that. In the last 2 or 3 days, we've had conversations with just individuals saying, "Oh, we heard you went to Australia. Can I be your blah blah blah?" And they come up with these crazy whatever they think they can be to be part of the show, and it's quite entertaining. So yes, and it's difficult. It's also difficult to realize that you leave people behind.
Yeah.
You and I grew up in Long Beach,
Yes,
California,
we did.
and you can attest to this.
Hmm.
I was the youngest solo performer for the Disneyland Hotel when I was in my teens. I
Mhm.
performed out there for 2 years, and then I started traveling. And I was extremely lucky once again to perform at the Disneyland Hotel. I also found it fascinating that right there in Anaheim, California, there are people that live next to Disneyland their entire life and have never been to Disneyland.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
What are you thinking? There are people out there spending thousands upon thousands of dollars just to do the one thing that they truly have been looking forward to, whether
Mhm.
it being going to Disney or on a cruise or whatever it is. And you live right next door and you do nothing.
Drive right by it.
Wow.
I know. Is that nuts? I don't know how you could drive by it because you can see it. You can see it from miles away.
Mhm.
Drive by it every day and not say, okay, time now for the right-hand turn. I'm in the parking lot. I'm going to do it. I don't understand that.
And I know it's getting really expensive. Disney,
Oh,
if you're listening,
yeah,
kind
no
of back
kidding.
off on your charges now.
Thank
But I will
you.
say that there are people who will say, well, we just can't afford it.
Yeah.
You will never have enough money. You will never
Mm-mm.
have enough time.
Mm-mm.
You will never be, for those out there waiting to get married, you'll
Oh,
never be ready. So just go for it. For
jump,
those out there worried about trying to get a new job and they're frightened and scared to death, just do it.
jump,
Go out there and jump.
jump, jump,
Yeah,
jump,
jump.
cross your fingers and just take the leap. But
Yeah.
there's something that I can't believe about you who
Oh,
grew up in
okay.
Long Beach.
Mm.
You hold the title, Rick, of the only person, especially of a Long Beach native, a person born and bred in Long Beach who has never gone to Joe Jost's.
No, okay.
Ah!
But I've driven past it.
Well, just like you went right by Disneyland.
That's right. That's right.
So the next time you're in Long Beach, we're
Uh-huh.
going to have to fix this. Anybody in Long Beach knows what I'm talking about. And for those who don't, Joe Jost's is a well, for lack of a better term, it's a bar and a pool hall.
Mm-hmm.
And it is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, which is like, wow. And I've been going in there since I was 5. Wait, what do you do? Go in a bar at 5? No. Go in because they have the Polish sausage sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And
the one and only.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
And my stepdad used to send me in to get those while he waited in the car. And so I've been going in there since I was 7. It's a very family-friendly place. It's like the neighborhood hangout, but it's historic. And I've never, ever, never, ever, ever met anybody who grew up in Long Beach or lived in Long Beach for any amount of time that hasn't been to JoJo's. So we're going to have to fix this.
Okay. It's near the traffic circle, right?
Yeah.
Close to it. Okay. So I will. We have a massive. There's a massive traffic circle right there in Long Beach.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's not just a circle. It is a massive circle.
It terrified me when I was learning to drive. Oh,
okay.
dear.
So like I said when I told you about driving near it, there was a night we went out to a dance, and I and a few of my friends decided to go to the traffic circle and drive the traffic circle.
Oh, you're kidding.
And we drove the traffic circle 100 times.
Around and around and around.
Yes. Now, talking about stupidity or whatever you want to say about it. What we wanted to see. But you got to understand, too, this isn't just a little dinky traffic circle.
No.
This is a big traffic circle.
Yes.
So we drove it 100 times.
Oh, my gosh.
It was like midnight. Midnight. That whole thing reminds me of that scenario and how crazy we were then. But
well, there's 4 ways off it. There's 4 opportunities to get off it every time you make the revolution. Now, I've driven it multiple times, only because I couldn't get off. I couldn't. When I was learning to drive, I'd get trapped and scared to merge right to get off. I just go around and around. Oh, my God. Yeah. Something else to do if you ever get to Long Beach, anybody.
Drive the traffic
Drive
circle.
the traffic circle, then go over and have a beer at JoJo's. In that order, please. Okay, traffic circle, then beer, not the opposite. Oh, my gosh. I can just see you guys going around the traffic circle.
Oh, goodness. What we do as teenagers.
Yeah, but you know what? It was fun.
It was harmless.
Yeah, it was harmless. It was harmless fun. And you remember it, and every time you do, you smile. And that's cool.
And you know what? As you age as well, again, that's what we're talking about. You find out that your parents did those kind of things as well.
They did.
I think that the joy is sharing stories.
Mm-hmm.
Parents should not hide their experience. Well, some things should remain in a closet.
Yeah,
but for the most part, you need to open up and share. And I think those are the moments where everybody sits around the kitchen table and they just share stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, something I think is important. I tell my students all the time, now that you're quote unquote an adult, okay, sit down and talk to your parents. Get to know who your parents really are, because up until a certain point in your time, you only know them as parents. Now, learn who they are as people, and you might be surprised. And so many of my students can't tell you a thing about their parents' past. And they need to.
I know it's a wish, want, and a desire, hopefully, for many people to have a better relationship with their parents. So one is try and gain a better relationship. Life is short.
Yep.
2, once you learn a little bit more about your parents, I do hope that they very much so, they're always going to be your parents, but more so a friend as well. And someone you can turn to and learn from in a different way other than a mom and dad telling you what to do.
Yep. They should become, I think, your most trusted advisor.
Yeah, you're going to listen to their wisdom. You're going to look forward to how much better you're going to understand each other in the future. And I would say with a bit of nurturing during these coming years, if your parents are not already your friends, they eventually will be. And it is a relationship you need to treasure.
I agree with you. We were talking about affording things. And, the holy grail for some people is Disneyland, or the holy grail is a cruise, and they're saving up for it. Oof. Nowadays it's a little hard to do that saving, to stick that, those bucks every week away so you can make your trek to Disneyland or Disney World or wherever in the heck you want to go.
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of people, in fact, there was a study done recently that I had on the air. There's just a lot of people saying, well, chuck the vacation. Not going to do it. Can't afford it. And they're doing what they call a staycation, which can be cool. I mean, that can be cool, but again, their holy grail over there, Matterhorn, sits there in Anaheim or in Florida. So you've got an idea here, Rick, about making money, saving money, and trying to beat this situation economically that we're in here in the U.S. And it's about buying gold and silver.
I'm actually, right now, while we're talking, holding a 1 ounce silver coin. This one happens to be an Elizabeth $5 coin from Canada. But it is pure silver.
Okay.
And it does say $5 coin on it, but it's actually worth about, at the moment, silver's $22, $23 an ounce.
Oh.
So that's what the coin is actually worth. And what's fascinating to me is it holds its worth. The coin I'm holding is not one of our quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies. They are part of a fiat currency, our paper money, which is virtually worth nothing. You have a government that has printed it, and this printed money is only what they say it is worth, and it's just pennies on the dollar. So we tell people, I and so many others who have learned this knowledge, take our fiat currency, or money that's turning to dust, and turning it into something real. And yes, you can put it in the stock markets, but I'm going to point out to you again, the stock markets, in reality, they're not real either. When you put your money in there, it kind of disappears.
It can.
Until you pull it out.
Yeah.
Right. And once you do so, then there's your profits or your losses. But it doesn't exist until you take it back. Okay. Right. So it kind of goes in, I don't know where it goes. But when you buy precious metals, gold and silver, and some of it, I'm not saying take your entire existence and put it all into gold and silver, but I can tell you right now, without doubt, those that are hoarding precious metals right now, those that are hoarding gold and silver, whether it be coins, and I say bullion, that's basically coins, bars, whatever it may be. You can get a gold bar, you can get a 10-ounce gold bar, you can get a 16-ounce gold bar, whatever it is. There's just different types of metals or bullions. Get this, countries, actual countries, banks, and the wealthy. All three of those are hoarding gold and silver.
For a reason.
Countries, banks, and the wealthy. If you bring in a bar of gold and put it on the front counter and tell them deposit it, they're going to tell you they don't know what to do with it. And I'm telling you right now, they know exactly what to do with it. They just don't want to tell you. And they are literally grasping for every bit of precious metals they can, because it's the only thing that holds its worth. You know, the dollar used to be backed by gold.
Right. And a lot of people still think it is.
I did too, until I took some time to learn.
Yeah.
And Nixon is the one who, kind of crossed that off the map. So our money is not held up by anything.
That's terrifying, really.
I know. So my suggestion to you is reach out to me. I'd love to just chat with you about what you can do in your life and how you can be helped, and at least understand what you should know and make decisions so that you can go to Disneyland sometime soon.
Well, yeah. Cross that off as people say, the bucket list. I don't like that one. I like to call it the Holy Grail list.
Oh, that's a good way.
A little more positive than bucket list. So, but no, you can actually talk to Rick about this directly to Rick. It's simple. You go to mansionofdreams.net/wealth. Little form, take you less than 30 seconds, and your phone is going to ring at some point, and, well, you'll be talking to Rick Thomas, and he's going to tell you all about it. Here's the thing, Rick. Here's what people ask me. So let's dispel it right now. They say, well, I'm not rich like Rick Thomas, so I can't buy gold, Tammy. You don't have to be rich.
No. In fact, that's why we suggest the best thing to invest in right now is silver. Silver has the greatest opportunity or chance to actually grow in worth. Now, I say worth because I just told you that it doesn't lose its worth. Right. But when our dollar falls, precious metals go up. Or at least that's what it appears to be. And it's just because it holds its worth. But silver, you can buy it at $20, $21, $22 an ounce. You can buy one silver coin, maybe one a week, maybe one a month. And by the end of the year, you're going to look back and realize what you've accomplished, what you have collected. And it's just something that you put to the side for you and your posterity. And then once it starts, you can't stop. It's just like collecting coins, collecting stamps, or collecting cars, or whatever you do. Just make it part of your life, and that's a pleasure that I'm able to share that information with you.
And all you had to do, once again, go to mansionofdreams.net/wealth, fill out the form, get a phone call from Rick, and find out, learn, see if it works for you. And good luck. We want you to get to Disneyland or Disney World or wherever the heck you're going. And Rick,
take your parents.
Yes, do take your parents. That would be a kick, wouldn't it?
Yeah, take your parents and give back to them what they gave to you as a child.
There you go. All right. Well, safe travels to you as you head out the door this morning.
Oh, thank you. And by the way, I'm going to give a shout out to you as well. I know it's my podcast, so to speak. There would be no podcast without Tammy Trujillo.
Oh, gosh, thanks.
None whatsoever.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I did a ta-da to you the other day, as others did. You had a plethora of individuals congratulating you. Please shout out and let these people know how lucky I am to be part of your life. And are you allowed to say anything yet?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely. Okay. What Rick is referring to is I posted on my social media. I'm now a full-time anchor for NBC News Radio. Ta-da. Thank you for that.
You got it.
Kind of my holy grail achieved. Yeah. There you go.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Congratulations. And may we continue to talk to each other as time goes on.
Next week.
Okay, you got it.
Thanks for joining us this week on Nothing Happens Until You Dream, starring Rick Thomas and featuring Tammy Trujillo, and is based on Rick Thomas's best-selling book, The Tiger Whisker, available on rickthomas.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love for you to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. And check us out on Patreon for exclusive members-only content. Stay up to date with Rick and Tammy at nothinghappensUntilYouDream.com. Remember, you must follow your dreams, not only for yourself, but for the rest of our future. We'll see you on the next episode.